Game 3 of the Western Conference semifinals between Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. Going into this game, I thought the Spurs would most likely win this game, despite the fact they lost in Game 2, even despite the fact they only shot 43% in Game 2, I believe. Uh, I thought that they could have still won that game. They had the controversial inbounds call in the game. It also seemed like Oklahoma was trying to do everything they could possibly do to give the game away anyway. But here in Game 3, earlier on, it was two great. Both teams were hot early on, but the Spurs was able to take advantage of some some defensive breakdowns for Oklahoma City, as far as being late in their rotations or missing their rotations. And this led to open three-pointers, in particular three-pointers on the corners, with guys like Kawhi Leonard knocking them down, Tony Parker knocking them down, and then I forget the guy that comes off the bench for the Spurs, three-point shooter, um, with the beard, and also Green. And San Antonio was able to build a small but consistent lead throughout most of the game. Uh, for Oklahoma, let's see, Kevin Durant had a pretty good game. Uh, Nothing really to complain about with that. Russell Westbrook, I think, shoots too fucking much sometimes. All right, I think he took something like 30 shots. Even though I think he's the best point guard all around the NBA, no disrespect to Stephen Curry, but I thought Russell Westbrook shot too much at times. He took some bad shots, some shots he missed that he normally makes, but still. Um, and talking about San Antonio, their two big players right now, Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge had a big game, not quite as big as the first two games he had in the series, but he had a very respectable game. But the big guy tonight was Kawhi Leonard. 31 points, 11 rebounds. He had a critical offensive rebound to end the game, just narrowly averting the attempted steal by Russell Westbrook. And it was able to hold on for a 100-94 victory, I believe it was, to take a 2-1 lead in this series. What else I want to say? The Spurs just don't get rattled. I mean, the only team I remember historically rattling them in the playoffs was the early 2000s Lakers dynasty team. But other than that, the Spurs are role warriors, man. Tony Parker, who now has a reduced role with that team, as does Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili. He had a big game tonight, Tony Parker. I think he had something like 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Tony Parker. And once again, Oklahoma kind of faltered again in the fourth quarter, as they have done explicably throughout the entire regular season and into the postseason. And I'd be shocked if they come back and win this series. I think the Spurs are going to win this series in 6, personally. I think they're going to lose this series in 6. And yes, that means I think